So hello everyone, my name is Enora Palarik and I'm the manager for CIVICA at the Hertie School in Berlin. And I'm very happy to welcome you for this very particular session, the last session of our series called Find Your Path Within CIVICA. It's a series that we work on with the 10-member universities of CIVICA, the European University of Social Sciences, which is an alliance of very prestigious universities around Europe working in the field of social sciences. And today's session is about dual degrees in Europe. So all our presenters here are experts and know very well the field, and we're delighted to organize two different roundtables. One roundtable will be about what is a dual degree and how to apply, and the other one we focus on career perspectives after a dual degree. So today we have presentations from 6 member universities of our alliance. The University Bocconi in Milan, Italy, the Hertie School in Germany, IE University in Spain, in Madrid, Sciences Po in Paris in France, the Warsaw School of Economics in Poland, and the London School of Economics in the United Kingdom. So I won't present CIVICA in too many details, but I wanted to show you a few numbers. We count in total 72,000 students. And importantly, among ourselves, we have 14 dual degrees. So there are lots of ties. We have exchange agreements, but we also have lots of dual degrees. But not only, our universities have lots of dual degrees and are very connected with the world. And they are all very international universities, counting many international students as well. So we work a lot in English, but we have a lot of diversity. And what I wanted to present to you rather quickly is what we work on, which is building a European inter-university campus. We're not becoming one university, but we are creating lots of opportunities for students to connect and to work together, both in the classroom, but also outside the classroom. So of course we have the classic dual degrees, we have exchange programs, and that's extremely important for us. But we also have lots of opportunities for students to do what we call short-term mobilities, and that could also include short-term online mobilities. So maybe to give to you an example, we have at the master's level a format that's called Honor Seminar, which is a 1-week seminar for excellent students, where, let's say, a student from the Hertie School could spend 1 week in Milan at Bocconi University, or at Sciences Po to take in Paris to take an intense course. Or we also have, for instance, in Warsaw, hosted by our colleagues from SGH in June, a big sports and cultural event where students from the 10 university, we have the opportunity to connect, do some sailing and sports, some theater together. So there are lots of opportunities for our students, and they are growing to interact and to connect, and that's what we are aiming at doing. And of course, one important aspect of these connections is the opportunity to study at one university and go to another university. Again, that can be within the alliance, but our universities are also connected with many universities outside in the world. And so this is what we want to focus a little bit on today. And I'm really delighted that we could be joined by these 6 universities. So thank you so much to our speakers for joining. I encourage you we have some time for questions after the roundtable sessions, but I also encourage you, of course, to ask questions in the chat if you want to ask questions to the speakers, and we also be happy to answer these questions. So without further ado, I would like to start the first roundtable, which is what is a dual degree and how to apply the classic and most important question, maybe if you start thinking about it. And before we go into some of the questions for the roundtable and the Q&A, I would like to ask our speakers to present their institutions and their dual degrees. So for this roundtable, I'm really happy to have a speaker from Bocconi University, Veronica Sulo, who is a graduate guidance and recruitment manager at Bocconi University. At the Hertie School, I'm delighted to have Anya Gimpel, who is manager international office, and Riti Singh, who is currently a student in the dual degree between the Hertie School in Berlin and the London School of Economics. And from Sciences Po, Cécile Marin, who is international development manager at Sciences Po. So we'll start with Bocconi University, and Veronica, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. So very briefly about Bocconi University, Milano, Italy, that you can see behind me. In the next slides, you will see some facts. Bocconi started signing a partnership with foreign universities in 1974, very early in time, considering that the Erasmus program started in the mid-80s. I was one of the first one attending one of those programs. The idea was really to allow our students to have more international experiences and to develop intercultural skills, and at the same time to host in our campus more and more students from abroad, making it a very multicultural and very dynamic environment. The first exchange programs were with ESSEC, a French business school, and NYU, New York University. In the next slides, you will quickly see the tour of the world for our 280 partner universities. The idea is to partner with the university with the similar study areas, but also where we can find excellence in other countries. It's easy to say it today for me that among our partners we have London School of Economics, Sciences Po, IE, Hertie, so the majority of the universities here today. But Bocconi really wanted to develop this international network so much, consider that we allow students, more than 1,000 students every year to exchange. Besides the regular, let's say, exchange, the short one semester programs, at master level, we developed more than 35 joint and double degrees. The first difference that I'm sure many of my colleagues will point out is related to the wording. So a joint degree is one diploma where you have the two brands of two different universities, one, let's say, in a one only paper, while the double degrees options allow you to have two diplomas from the two universities, sometimes two theses, two final papers, two graduation ceremonies, and so on. So this is the main difference that we will talk also about it later when talking about application procedures. Going on with the tour of the world, you will see the main characteristics, the features of the programs, where you have basically in the 2 year of the typical European framework of Master of Science programs. In the next slide, you can see that while in the first year you will be in Milano at Bocconi, the second year you can attend the whole second year in a different university. Usually, but I don't want to spoiler what we will talk about later, you apply for a double degree during your first year in the home university. But there are cases of joint degrees where you will apply directly for that joint degree. This is also the case that we will for sure mention today of the CHEMS MIM program that many of us share and where again you apply directly to that program. I have one last slide just to show you a, let's say, a screenshot of all the opportunities that we have. Let me just underline two of them. One is with the State University of New York, a double degree with the State University of New York. This is one of those programs that allow you to have a degree from an American university, allowing you also to start working in the US. So this is one of the things to consider also when taking into consideration double degree opportunities. The other one is a triple degree we have for the course in art, culture, media and entertainment with Dallas in the US and HEC Montreal. This is a triple degree. You get 3 degrees, so from 3 countries, almost continents, and this is again a great chance to start working abroad. I don't want to take time from my colleagues. I'm sure we will talk again about all these programs and the opportunities to apply. So I leave the floor to the next one.
Thank you so much, Veronica, for this introduction. And now we will be going to the Hertie School in Berlin. And Anja, I give you the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Inora. Yeah, so I think I can just connect to the previous presentation because, yeah, we are having a dual degree program with Bocconi as well. And I think we have a lot in common, but also with the dual degree programs we offer at Hertie, there are a few differences. And I just wanted to give you an overview about the different routes that would be available within specifically the CIVICA network if you want to pursue, let's say, a CIVICA dual degree. So yeah, just to repeat what was just said, so the special thing about the dual degree is that you really earn 2 separate degrees that also usually give you working rights in the specific country. It might be different from country to country, but generally you are a full graduate and yeah, with the specific working rights in the country. And you have the possibility to really specialize on certain issues and do a specific set of courses that you would not be able to do within one specific program only, right? And I will just give you also an example of how this might look. One important thing maybe to mention about tuition fees, because this is a bit different from the Bocconi model. So for our dual degree programs that we offer within the Hertie School, you would generally pay the school where you are in residence. So let's say you do the first year at Sciences Po and the second year at Hertie, you pay Sciences Po tuition in your first year and Hertie tuition in the second year. And this is how it works for all our dual degree partnerships, except for Bocconi. Overall, yeah, we are, of course, we are a much smaller institution and a much younger institution than Bocconi, but we also have established dual degrees with 9 partner institutions at this point, and we have 12 different degree combinations, because at some schools you could combine, for example, an MPP from Hertie with an MIA from the partner school, or with an MPA at the partner school. So there are different degree combinations. So let's just look at some examples on the next slide of possible routes within CIVICA. So on the left, you can see our dual degree program that we have with Sciences Po in Paris. This would be a program that you really apply for before you even begin your studies. So instead of applying to the general MPP at Sciences Po or the general MPP at the Hertie School, you would already apply for this dual degree that has specific requirements and specific deadlines, a joint selection process. And then if you get into this program, then you would spend the first year in Paris, complete the MPP core requirements there, and also choose one of the policy streams. So let's say you go, for example, for digital, new technology, and public policy, and then you notice, oh, but I'm also really into the analysis part. I really want to do a lot of quantitative analysis, and then you transition to Berlin in your second year, and you can benefit from the courses taught within our policy analysis stream, and you write your thesis at the Hertie School, and in the end you are awarded both degrees, the MPP from Sciences Po and the MPP from the Hertie School. And a similar combination exists for the MIA program, or the Master of International Relations, where we have a dual degree with IE in Madrid. This is also a program that you would apply for before entering your studies, but you could also enter this program while you are already enrolled in the MIR at Madrid. And then you could opt for a second year at the Hertie School. And you could, for example, combine the specialization, geopolitics and diplomacy, with a concentration in international security at the Hertie School, and really benefit from the different assets that both programs offer you, and in the end hold again 2 degrees from 2 different European universities. As I said previously, also it might work in a different direction. So if we look at my last slide, also connecting again to the Bocconi presentation, it does not always work the way that you apply before you start your studies and that you come to Hertie in your second year. But there's, for example, also the option to start your studies at the Hertie School, either start in our Master of Public Policy program or in our Master of International Affairs program. And then in your first year, you can not only apply for different exchange options, but you could, for example, also apply for a double degree or dual degree with Bocconi University. And then in addition to your Hertie School degree, earn a degree in their Master of Science program on economics and management of government and international organizations. And this way also, benefit from, again, having 2 degrees and delving into other courses that might be less available at Hertie. For example, if you want to go in the healthcare sector or take other priorities, study foreign languages, which is another important element of Bocconi's program. So you see there are so many different combinations available, and you could really look into the different features, see where your job, your further job might lead you, and which skills and which locations also might be most suitable in that regard. So thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Anja. And here's also a slide about how to stay in touch. So you already mentioned also Sciences Po, and now I'm really glad to give the floor to Cécile to present the dual degrees from Sciences Po.
Thank you, Nora. So as you may know, Sciences Po is a school for social sciences. We are truly international because 50% of our students are international. So we have many international students because we have a year abroad that is compulsory at bachelor's level. So we have a huge network of partner universities when it comes to the exchange program, but also because we have a lot of dual degree programs. So it's one of Sciences Po's trademarks. We have bachelor dual degree programs, but we have mainly dual master's programs. We have 7 graduate schools at Sciences Po: a School of Public Affairs, International Affairs, Management and Impact, Law School, Urban School, School of Research, and School of Journalism. So all our graduate schools have dual degree programs except the Law School, for legal reasons, sure, because it's always difficult to mix 2 different programs in law in 2 different countries. But otherwise, all our graduate schools offer a dual master's program. So if we take a look at the next slide, I just wanted to point out the specificities of the dual degree programs at Sciences Po. First of all, why choose a graduate dual degree? As we mentioned, for most of the program, it's a multidisciplinary approach with internationally renowned universities, including the CIVICA partner universities. You also have access to a dual expertise in a specific discipline in the social sciences. You have 2 degrees. So at Sciences Po, we offer dual degrees, so double degrees, not joint degrees. So at the end, you get 2 degrees, a degree from Sciences Po and a degree from another university. You can be fluent in another language than English. You can be French, but you can also study study Swedish, for example, if you go to SSC, so you can just start new languages from scratch or threaten your level of another European language. You have access to a multicultural experience. You have access to all resources from both institutions, including the alumni network, which is really an asset if you want to work in France, in Europe, and even outside of Europe. The alumni network is really, really important. You have nationally recognized degrees and also internationally recognized degrees. And these kind of profiles are highly appreciated by recruiters in Europe and outside of Europe. So when it comes to the structure of the dual degree programs at Sciences Po, the students spend the first year of master's program at Sciences Po on the Paris campus, and then they go to the partner university for the second year of the program. Sorry. When it comes to the admission process, so there is always a joint admission process, which means that we both decide who we want in the programs, and we decide about the cohorts. When it comes to the cohort, we have a lot of international applicants, not only French. And let's say if we have a DD program, for example, with LSE, we have French and British applicants, but we also have applicants from all over the world. So it's really international cohorts. But we always make the decision together when it comes to the admission process. And we have already talked about that, but the tuition fees are paid at the university where you spend a year at. So first year at Sciences Po and second year at the partner university. I just wanted to show you in the last slide, sorry, the DD programs that we had. So depending on the disciplines you're interested in, you will take a look at different schools at Sciences Po. If you're interested in public affairs, we have a DD program with CIVICA partners such as Bocconi, Hertie School, LSE, but also universities in the US, other universities in Germany, in China, in Japan, in Switzerland. If you're interested in international affairs, we also have programs with CIVICA partners, but also American partner universities, Chinese and universities from Switzerland. When it comes to the School of Management and Innovation, we have programs with Stockholm School of Economics and Bocconi, but also with Fudan in China, with Brazil, with the US and with Switzerland. And for the other graduate schools, so it's on the last slide. We have dual degree programs in urbanism with the London School of Economics, Bocconi, but also Tata Institute of Social Sciences in India. We also have research master's program with King's College London, for example. So it's master level, and then we have PhD dual programs. And finally, we have programs in journalism with the Columbia University Journalism School. So we have a lot of specialization. It really depends on your interest, but every graduate school try to launch DD program focusing on a specific discipline in the social sciences. So I'd be happy to tell you more about this later if you have some questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this very exciting and insightful presentations. I now want to ask a few questions to our speakers. And Veronica, you mentioned already some of the differences, right? That exists between joint degrees and dual degrees, and I think there were already some insights about what it means, right? Also access to job markets and alumni community. We get back to these advantages as well in the second roundtable, but it may be a bit difficult for students to really understand what type of programs these are, and could you please explain a little bit more about these differences between different types of dual degrees?
Absolutely. This is really about the type of, let's say, study plan. So I would say that the difference is really that for a joint degree, the study plan and all the, let's say, teaching and academic activities are really designed and organized by the two universities jointly. So for each course, for each semester, there is an common understanding on the path that each student will take. So also in terms, for example, of further opportunities in terms of internship or uses of the different offices and services of the universities, it's all, let's say, really organized jointly by the two universities. While I would say that for double degrees, each year the university takes care of the enrolled student. So while for a joint degree, you are usually, then for each university is the same, but generally speaking, you are usually enrolled at the same time in the two universities. In the double degrees, you might be enrolled in university number 1 in the first year and university number 2 in the second year. Again, even at Bocconi, the students who go for a double degree can still, let's say, profit of a career fair or all the counseling activities and so on, but you become enrolled officially in the second university during the second year. Let me also add one more, let's say, insight and also topic of discussion for everybody. There are also networks like CIVICA that offer different type of courses within a bigger, let's say, agreement. And on the underside, there are also organizations, networks like the CEMS, no? The Community of European Management Schools, that basically share among 15 universities the same program. So this is again different, where you attend basically the same master in international management in one university, and you can do a semester in one other of the same network. But in that case, the study plan and all the features of the program are very similar in the different universities. What can really change is the environment, the country, the language of the country, and so on. So this is again something to consider, in my opinion.
Thank you so much. That's very very useful, I think, when you start thinking about what a dual degree is, and I think often the language is mixed up, so it's a bit difficult to understand. Now, Cécile, Sciences Po, you just showed, has a huge offer of dual degree programs, but what would be your recommendation to students who try to pick the right program for them?
It really depends on the discipline the applicant is interested in, because we offer urbanism, public affairs, management and innovation, security studies, human rights. So that's one of the reasons why I have so many dual degree programs. It's because we don't want to focus on a specific discipline. We want the students to be able to study international affairs at Sciences Po and international development at LSE, or international affairs at Sciences Po and finance at Stockholm School of Economics. So we want to have the maximum of combination possible in order to offer a wide range of disciplines to the students. So I don't have specific advice for the students, because it really depends on the interest of the students. Sometimes we have the same specialization in, let's say, 3 or 4 different dual degree programs. So the specificities can be the language of instruction. For example, for some German institution, you may have some courses in German, which is not the case of the DD program with British universities, of course, but also, I don't know, Stockholm School of Economics, you can study Swedish, but all the courses are in English, so we don't require the students to have a high level of Swedish before applying. So it really depends on the other aspects. Can be the language of instruction, the tuition fees as well, because the tuition fees can vary from a program to another, and it can vary a lot. But when it comes to the discipline, I mean, the DD program that we have with LSE in urbanism is so different from the DD program that we have at Stockholm School of Economics. So again, it's about the discipline first, and then the language, the intercultural experience, the tuition fees, and the access to job market as well.
Yeah, thank you. Anja, you wanted to compliment.
Yeah, if I may, there were just two things that came to my mind that I also usually tell the students that I would look out for. One thing is the dissertation or master's thesis requirement, because not all schools have a classical thesis requirement. Some have a capstone instead, or this is also something I think you should consider for the second year if you want to go on with PhD, for example, if you either want to do a very technical thesis, or like what is the graduation requirement at the school, and then also maybe where you would foresee yourself working in the future, because it can be helpful building a network on the side, and it can be difficult from abroad, right? So this is maybe also a big difference where you spend your second year. Thanks.
Yes, and you had mentioned also right, working rights. So for non-EU students, that's also a very important thing to consider. Not only the alumni network and the having a recognized diploma, but also having working rights can be a very important factor. So thank you so much for this. And now we want to have I think maybe a direct voice from a student currently studying herself in a dual degree program. So Ridima, thank you for joining us. You are currently, I think, in London, right? Because you started in Berlin at the Hertie School with a master in public policy, and now you are at the School of Public Policy of the London School of Economics. And so in your experience, what is unique about studying in two different institutions?
Thank you so much for having me. I think there's a lot that I could say about what I found different and things which I had to rationalize and make sense of. Overall, it's been a super positive experience, but I think maybe 4 major points that I could pull up that make it unique from what would have been had I just stayed at Hertie, or had I maybe just applied for the MPA program at LSE. I think the first thing, which was the most exciting thing I found, was that it's moving from one university to the other is like an immediate sandbox to test how much you've learned in your first year. Of course, when you're jumping into a second year of a dual degree program, there is an assumption that the first years are relatively equivalent. You've learned about the same things. A second year student at Hertie doing the MPP should have about the same knowledge as a second year student starting their LSE MPA, but there's always going to be differences. And I think there were so many places where I really felt like I had to go back and just make sure I knew what I was saying, which I had learned from the first year, just because you have to kind of different teaching styles, different learning styles. I think I felt this the most in my economics courses at LSE, because I decided to dive headfirst into economics. And then I realized that there were days when I had to kind of just make sure that I was on the same level in terms of just clear clarity of information. But I loved it because it made me much more secure and much more confident in what I was learning across both universities. Also, the fact that both universities code using different platforms. So I had to come to LSE and immediately just learn a whole new language, which is not that hard, I realized. But it wasn't something I would have done if I just stayed at Hertie. I would have probably stuck to R and not decided to look into Stata. I think secondly is it just turbocharges your networking net almost. I think at Hertie, I had built wonderful relationships with professors. I had amazing friends. I had started building a network in Berlin, but then coming to LSE, every new person I was speaking to was a new person in my network. And I think just by default, being in two such academically vibrant and professionally vibrant places allows you to just completely blow open the entire network of people you have to speak to learn from, to ask for advice. And the third thing is to do with advice, that I think as a student, as a dual degree student, I have so many more places I can go to for advice on everything from academic insights to career options, to visa advice as an international student. I think, of course, being an international student comes with its challenges, but as a dual degree student, I have now twice the number of people I can go to ask for advice and sometimes find solutions from one place for which I wouldn't have found somewhere else. And that's been very helpful for me at multiple steps. And finally, I think what it's really allowed me to do, which I might not have got to do if I was just in one university, is that I think I've gotten a much clearer idea, again, as an international student, what parts of working outside or what parts of studying outside my home country I value, and what parts do I prefer back in my home country. For me personally, going back to my home country, going back to India has always been an option. As a public policy student, as someone who's trying to get into the policy space, India is one of the biggest places I could go back to. So that was always on the cards, but working and studying in Germany and then working and studying in London has allowed me to get a much clearer idea about what my personal and my professional and my academic boundaries are. So regardless of where I'm looking for a job, I have certain things which I know that I want or I don't want, which I might not have had if I had just spent my time in LSE or just spent my time in Berlin. And I think those are my four biggest takeaways, but I'm happy to answer any specific questions in the question answer session.
Thank you so much, Ritima, for sharing as well, because as a former dual degree student myself, I think it's always helpful to have advice from those who've walked the path before you. And as you mentioned, there are so many amazing things, but it doesn't come without any challenge, right? It's you're taking a journey where you have to learn not only from one institution but from two, and it's also probably why it's so valued by universities and by employers, because they know what kind of challenges you've overcome as well, and what kind of personality it takes. So thank you so much. Now we'd like to open the floor to questions from the audience, so please raise your hand if you have a question for one of our speakers or all of them. If you're really shy, you can ask in the chat, but we would prefer if we could see your face and have a lively discussion. We seem to have rather shy people today. No, so apparently there are no questions at the moment. Oh, sorry, I'm letting someone new in. Maybe we can.
There's someone. I think
Oh,
there's
yes.
someone who has a question. Sorry.
Yes, there is a question. Please go ahead.
Hello, good morning. Good morning from Liberia. My name is Paul Giguema. My question would be, how can one apply for this scholarship? And another thing I would like to know, it is scholarship, it is a fully funded scholarship or partially funded. Sorry if I'm asking question that you already explained on, because I just got in. Sorry.
No, thank you, Paul, also for joining us all the way from Liberia. It's a very important question, and I think it's going to be very different from institution to institution. So I go institution by institution, because the opportunities vary. So maybe Veronica, if you could answer for Bocconi first.
Absolutely. When students get apply for my university, they are considered for a full merit scholarships, and you get it together with admission. Usually, when you then do some sort of double degree or exchange or study abroad opportunity, the scholarship stays with you. And on top, we have also kind of pocket money to go abroad further. So in your case, Paul, then again, I mean, when you get to Europe, luckily we are all 1 hour flight from each other, and so things become easier and also cheaper than expected. But I would say, in my opinion, the most important take is if you get a scholarship, you will keep your scholarship also when you do go abroad.
Anya, could you please answer for the Hertie School?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sure. Thank you for the question. So yes, it is different depending on the dual degree program that we are speaking about. So for example, for the dual degree with Bocconi, I can also confirm what Veronica said. You could apply for a full tuition waiver at the Hertie School, and then you would keep it if you spent the second year at Bocconi, and you would also qualify for the Erasmus grant then, which is also a good living cost support for studying in another European country. For other dual degree programs, unfortunately, the funding is a bit more limited. So if you, for example, are interested in the dual degree with LSE and you get a waiver from Hertie, can be full or partial, right? Then this would not automatically carry over to LSE, but you would again be considered for funding through LSE. So it really depends a bit on the specific program, and we would then be happy maybe to look into that once you really consider applying to one of our institutions. Our admissions team can really advise you a bit further on the funding options for the different combinations and routes.
Yes, thank you. And indeed, maybe a tip as well is that all our institutions usually have support offices because it can be sometimes very targeted, also depending on where you're coming from, what kind of master you want to go into. So that can be very specific, and there can be a funding option for you that doesn't exist for others, etc. So that's also where it's a bit more individualized advice. When you receive an offer. So Cécile, maybe you want to answer for Sciences Po as well?
Yes, sure. So we don't have any specific scholarship for the DD programs, but you can apply to Sciences Po scholarship for the first year of your studies, and then you can apply to the partner university to receive a scholarship for the second year of studies. But these are the same scholarship as the regular student, the one that would enter single degree programs.
Thank you so much. I also encourage our colleagues from IE or LSE or Warsaw School of Economics maybe to include in the chat if you have some tips as well for your institutions. We also present your programs in the second roundtable, and there will be chance, of course, to ask specific questions as well for you. But we also have a question from Anna. Do you have to write 2 master's theses to get dual degrees? So who wants to take this question? Anya, maybe you mentioned the master's thesis already in your presentation. So
Sure. So I can only speak for Hertie. So we do not have a program where you would have to do 2 theses. It's just, for example, the case in the dual degree with Bocconi. You also have to defend your thesis in Bocconi, although you write it with a Hertie advisor in your second year. But generally, you only do the final project, may it be a capstone, a dissertation, whatsoever, at the second year institution. So no, don't worry, not 2 CVs. So thank you.
Yeah, I think generally what's important to note is that, of course, the credits from the first year are recognized, so you don't have the double workload. You take the classes you did in the first year, and then you don't have to repeat everything. And that's always something that we work on when we create a dual degree, to make sure that these are complementary and that what you learn in the first year complements what you learn in the second year, also because we have to recognize your diploma. So be reassured that it's it's not the double workload that you have to do in 1 year. Is there another question for our speakers? No, I think everything was rather clear, so thank you so much. But of course, you know, if you think about other questions that come later, you can ask them in the chat, and we also include the contacts from the speakers in a follow-up email, so you can always reach out to them more individually. But now I'm really delighted to open the second part of our webinar today, which is the roundtable about career perspectives after a dual degree. And for this, I have 3 new great institutions from CIVICA represented. We have from IE University, José Ignacio Fernandez Salvador, I'm sorry about the pronunciation, who is Global Recruitment Manager at University in Madrid. From SGA Warsaw School of Economics, we have Agnieszka Kuhn-Kienel, who is Coordinator of Dual Degree Programs at Warsaw School of Economics, and Jakub Kuriata, who is an alum of the Dual Master's Degree in Finance from the Warsaw School of Economics and Sciences Po. So again, a proper CIVICA dual degree student. And from the London School of Economics, we have Angelo Martelli, who's assistant professor in European and International Political Economy at the European Institute of the LSE. So thank you so much for joining us today. I will share again my slide. Sorry, it will take a minute. And I would start with a presentation sorry, it's a bit trickier, by Professor, by IE University, by Jose.
Thank you very much, Indra, and thank you everyone for joining in today. This is a very critical and very important aspect of your master's, since it will be maybe the first indicator or factor of a return on investment, right? So let's talk about careers and dual degrees. But first, a very brief overview of our dual degrees at IE University. Next slide, please. Well, we have 6 different schools. Besides these 6 different schools, we have our extended education in case you want to follow programs online that do not require an academic or an official degree. But something cool about our dual degrees, next slide, please, is how diverse they are. Being an international student at IE is very common, so much that 80% of our students are international. You can see these are all averages, but every year we have about 46 different languages spoken on campus. So it's like the UN. It has a lot of different activities and extracurricular. So if you like something, there will be a club for that. And if not, you can open it. And there is a lot of equity between different genders and sexes at IE. So almost 50-50%. This is between undergrads and masters. Next slide, please. Now, in terms of nationalities, every year we have around 160 nationalities on campus. As you can see, 58% are European, counting Spanish and non-Spanish. 29% come from America, 8% from the Middle East and Africa, and 5% from Asia Pacific. So very diverse. And if you study 2 degrees, a dual degree, you can multiply this diversity by 2. So someone mentioned networking in the previous presentations, and this is a factor that increases exponentially when you do a dual degree. Okay, next slide, please, Enora. Now, something else that's pretty cool about dual degrees at IE University and in general is that we organize our programs in pathways. We have our schools, but we also have our pathways. But it allows you to diversify in what you're good at or what you want to be good at. So for example, law, international affairs, and business and management, for example. You can do a law degree with an MBA, okay? Or a program in design and architecture and marketing or tech. So you can combine the very different fields and be much more, it opens much more doors, okay? At IE University, we have 34 dual degrees in masters and 11 in bachelors. And there's 2 very special in our masters that I'm going to talk about in the next slide. However, if you want to know more about our dual degrees, you can scan that, or we could just continue the conversation later. Next slide, please. Here, I just included a couple examples. The last 2 are those that we have at IE University with other partner universities from CIVICA. Hertie School, this is a very relevant program. It's a dual degree, Master in International Relations and International Affairs. Our colleagues in Hertie already talked about this program. 2-year degree, 1 in Hertie, 1 at IE. And the other one is at Sciences Po. It's a dual degree in Technology and Global Affairs, 1 year in Paris, 1 year at IE. And some of the benefits you get from these degrees is that you get something we mentioned already, the twice the network, 2 degrees, of course, additional certifications, immersion weeks and trips you have around the world, different intake options, and some of them even provide the opportunity to do an internship. Next slide, please. And finally, if you want to contact us or know more about our programs or university, if you want to know about our dual degrees with partner universities, it's scanning that QR code, you'll get all my contact information. I know my name is very long, so my email is very long as well, but that QR code can really help. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jose Ignacio. And now we're moving from the south of Europe to Central Europe with the Warsaw School of Economics, and Agnieszka, the floor is yours. Oh.
We don't hear you.
Yes.
Agnieszka, we don't hear you.
I'm sorry. Okay, so can you hear me now? Yes. Yeah, so I will present our double degree programs we have at SGH Warsaw School of Economics, and only double degrees, because we also have some joint degree programs, but that it's not my task. So so I will concentrate on this kind of programs. And if I can have the next slide, please. Yes. And I decided to start from the very beginning because I find it interesting a little bit. So the origin of our double degrees was a very special Polish-French program in European studies we had with Sciences Po in the 90s already, and it was not a real double degree because students were receiving master degree from SGH and a special certificate signed by both institutions. Then, when Poland integrated the European Union, this program was transformed into a real double degree, and this was our very first double degree program. And if I remember correctly, but maybe Jakub will let you know, we only had 3 cohorts of students because this program was very demanding. It was a 5-year program on both bachelor and master level. And it was also demanding because of the languages, because French Sciences Po students, they were starting in the campus in Dijon, and they were learning Polish for 3 semesters. Then they were coming to SGH and they were supposed to study in Polish, which was quite challenging. And Polish students, the level of French they were supposed to have was really very high. So we were recruiting only 3 students per institution. And here you can see some old pictures, the campus in Dijon, and Madame Françoise Milewski, who was academic director of this program, and some people involved. So this program is quite special, and the person I invited today to present his alumni experience, let's say like this, is Jakub Kuriata, who is the very first student we recruited for this very first program. So if I can have the next slide, please. So now everything changed. We have 15 double degree programs. All of them are run in English. So we currently have 4 bachelor double degrees. So we have 2 German universities, then a university from South Korea, and Peking University from China. We are currently negotiating the next program with Corvinus University of Budapest, and it is almost finished. So right after our presentation, I will have a meeting with our Hungarian colleagues. And we have 11 master double degrees with different institutions from France, Germany, Czech Republic, Italy, Canada, and Switzerland, Portugal and Switzerland. And there is one more program planned with Kiev National Economic University in Ukraine. So these are 2-year programs, all of them, also on bachelor level, because for bachelor programs, our students are recruited at the end of the first year of studies. So they realized a special study plan for 2 years, 1 year here at SGH and the other year at the partner university. And the fees are paid, which is quite different from what I heard here, only to home institutions. So for all our programs, actually. Okay. If I can have the next slide, please. And as far as numbers are concerned, so we had more than 500 graduates since 2016. We on bachelor level, we have, we currently have 4 majors concerned. It is management, finance and accounting, international business and global business, finance and governance. The same for on master level, but we are working on including some new majors, and it will be advanced analytics, big data on bachelor level, and quantitative methods and information systems on master level. So every year we have around 30 outgoing students and around 25 incoming students. But you have to add these students who are studying at home university, but realizing already this double degree program. So I think it's all from my side. If you have any questions, thank you.
Thank you so much, Agnieszka, for walking us through the 90s. It's nice to see these pictures as well. Angelo, you're the last on the list to present LSE. If you want to share your screen, go ahead, or if you want to speak freely, please also just jump in.
Yes. Perfect. Hello, everyone. I've actually decided not to have any presentation slides, but rather I've just posted the link to the double degrees offered in particular by my department, which is the LSE European Institute. It is a pleasure to be here, first of all, and I am a big fan and supporter of CIVICA, actually, having gone through a number of the institutions here represented myself. So I did my undergrad actually at Bocconi University. As you can hear from my accent, I'm Italian. Recently, I'm also British national, but I'm Italian. I then went to Spain, not IE, but I did my master in Spain and then landed at the LSE to then do my postdoc, actually in part as a visiting researcher at Hertie School. Recently also I set up an honor seminar together with the IE University, a colleague there in the law school. Therefore, I think CIVICA really offers a platform that is unique in its kind, because you are, as a student, exposed to probably the best institutions you have around Europe. And it's an access that is an unprecedented access in its kind, I think, because we have tried to make the transition also between each institution as smooth as possible. And Nora was mentioning, for instance, the thesis, the dissertation. We have tried to work a lot around, these sort of accreditation and mutual recognition as much as possible, really to make your life as easy as possible. I will speak just briefly about the double degree for which I am the program director, which is actually the one with Bocconi University. I know that Veronica was speaking about the several number of double degrees and joint degrees that Bocconi University offers. Our department in particular offers at the moment at the LSE, there are many. In the European Institute, there is one with Bocconi University, which focuses on European and international public policy and politics. The other one is with Columbia University that focuses on culture and conflict. Then we have one with Fudan University, for which I was actually program director before, which is focused on global political economy of China and Europe, and one with the Sciences Po, which is actually more wide and broad in its approach, since it focuses on different streams and students can choose different streams. Now, I just would like to say a few words of, I think, the opportunity that these double degrees offer. In particular, when I see students coming from Bocconi University to spend the second year with us at the LSE, I see a number of expectations, of course, changing. The type of approach that we have is very different. At Bocconi, what I usually say, and I think it applies also to other universities, you are in a way the expectation is to have top performance. You are an amazing student, so you have a number of then top placements later on. Therefore, grades matter, and you are really designed to have this peak top academic performance. You get the LSE, and students, because they don't have to do exams right from the beginning, the exams are pushed towards the end of the year. It is a very different type of environment. It's much more about critical thinking. It's much more about the experience of social sciences as a whole, and therefore, students at the beginning might have to change again their approach also to studying, because we also include a bit more of a qualitative component. Therefore, I think each double degree that the CIVICA network offers is unique in its kind, and it's really about trying to understand what's best for you and what you would like to focus on. There are also preferences regarding to the city that hosts that particular university. There are preferences that have to do with the placement later on, and we will talk about career in very shortly. So I think they are all amazing double degrees. It really depends on what you are really after, and we have a very long menu in a way that of offers for you. Yep, I probably stop there, Nora. I don't think we can hear you. I think you're muted.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much to all our speakers for these very inspiring presentations on your offers and these important pieces of advice to our audience. So in the first roundtable, we've talked about what are dual degrees, what are we talking about, and how to apply. And we've already talked a little bit about careers, but now we'd like to focus a bit more on what it means really on a CV and what it means for after, because the whole point of training really skilled professionals is to make sure that you have great opportunities on the job market afterwards. I will ask a question to you directly, Professor Martelli. In your experience of the LSE, but also your personal experience as an academic director of a double degree, what is the impact of graduating from two university or even from a joint program on the career perspectives of the dual degree students?
Definitely. So it was already mentioned previously, but actually by the experience of by the alumna of Hertie and the LSE. And I would like to go back to what was mentioned, because what the alumna mentioned was the fact that she had to adapt to different expectations and to the challenges posed by the two different degrees. But the challenges then can really be transformed into strengths later on, and in particular when you have to, for instance, solve case studies or projects or work in groups. This is definitely an advantage, because the diversity to which you have been exposed transforms itself into a number of you recognize first of all where the loopholes might be, or you recognize in particular what are the key ingredients in a particular a particular initiative, in a particular project. Therefore, it prepares you in a way that staying, for instance, for a longer degree at the same university probably doesn't, or you become much more aware, and that awareness is something that definitely is praised by recruiters. At the same time, we both, for instance, the double degree for which I'm program director, the one with Bocconi University, between Bocconi and LSE, we have top placements, and there are a number of institutions such as the European Central Bank, European Space Agency. The list is quite long, but rather than focusing on the top placement, more than 96% of our graduates end up in amazing places. I think what I would like really to focus on is the fact that they find a job right after, and they have a number of offers right after they finish. But at the same time, there are some that decide to stay in academia and would like, for instance, to pursue a PhD career. And I have a number of students that have gone on, for instance, to take positions, again, research positions. So I think the challenges and the expectations that you have to adapt to become strength in the long term, and it's something that sets you really apart. And I think also the number of joint activities that are presented by the CIVICA network. For instance, we recently celebrated the joint anniversary between Bocconi and the LSE, and we had a double act event, first in Bocconi and then at the LSE. And the number of opportunities the students really have creates also a number of important milestones for them to achieve, and therefore I think it's quite an unprecedented exposure that they get both during their first and second year.
Thank you so much for this information based on your experience also as a director of a dual degree program. We're really grateful to have you here. Now, Rosa Ignacio, talking from the perspective of IE University, what type of career support and other opportunities, such as internships or mentoring, etc., do dual degree students benefit from at IE University and your partner universities?
Thank you very much, Emma, for the question. Starting by the resources and benefits that you get as a dual degree student, starting with IE and then with another university at CIVICA. You start first with all the guidance, support, and advice from IE Talent and Careers, who will, even before you enter a classroom, start to understand where you come from an academic and professional perspective, to understand where you sit in terms of skills, in terms of ambitions, in terms of where you want to work, in terms of sector, subsector, area, seniority level, function, etc. And even ask you to pick 3 to 4 different countries where you would like to work in, so that the first months they can start helping you find the right market, the right companies, the right, etc., right? So that you can find the right job for you. This goes throughout the entire master's, and it's something that continues having a one-to-one support during the first year after you graduate, but you will still have lifelong support and access to the IE Talent and Careers portal, where you can access to different job postings from companies all around the world. That is for life, okay? As well as tens of different resources and websites that you get access to exclusively from IE. But the good thing about having a dual degree with another university is that all universities have their own teams, their own resources, their own methodologies, so you get to combine both, okay? That is, again, exponentially better, because you have 2 ways of approaching a similar issue or the same issue with the same person, okay? So it, again, helps you to find a job much quicker. Okay, you have twice the weapons, twice the ammo, the same objective. So it really helps you get there faster and easier as well. Also, our programs with partner universities such as Hertie University and Sciences Po allow you to have an internship between both programs. Okay, that way you graduate the first program at IE University, and in that summer, before you start your second program, you get a summer internship. Okay, that is a great opportunity for you to get back into the professional world or the job market, or into the job market for the first time. So you can put in practice what you've learned. Okay, these are some of the resources and advantages you get from doing a dual degree with CIVICA University, such as IE University. And again, in your CV, it looks great. It gives you twice the network, gives you twice the skill set, twice the know-how, gives you twice the possibilities.
Yes, thank you so much. And I presented at the beginning as well opportunities for all students enrolled in CIVICA institutions, right? And beyond the students who do even a one semester exchange program or a dual degree, we do offer opportunities also to network and create these networks across universities during your master's degree or your bachelor's degree. And Angelo, you were mentioning the CIVICA Honor seminars. You taught at IE University, actually, in Madrid, and this was one of these opportunities where you had students from many universities in having an intense 1 week program and connecting and creating this network. So I think that beyond this, the Alliance offers many opportunities to create these networks, but a dual degree, as you mentioned, then you really get access to particular resources and support that you would not get otherwise, and from two universities is better than one. Now we would like to close this roundtable with a first-hand experience of a dual degree former dual degree students between the Warsaw School of Economics and Sciences Po. Jakub, thank you so much for joining us. You graduated, I think, in 2009, right? From the dual degree program, and it's been a bit more than 10 years, so you can really attest how it affected your career. And so, how did graduating from these two universities had an impact on your career? Can you share a bit your story?
Yes. Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for having me. It's a real pleasure. So I'm talking to you from Paris, so you can imagine that doing a dual degree with Sciences Po actually had quite an impact on my life. Although I spent several years in London as well, and I started working in Warsaw, so I actually check all the boxes. In fact, it started indeed in 2004, and I was part of the first cohort. I learned about the program relatively late, so it was a bit of surprise for me. In my case, I think it's a testimony to the principle that you should never underestimate the role of luck in your life. Because I learned about the program relatively late, never planned to do it before. So here I am, and it was a very demanding program because we actually started this program in France. And we ended already by working. So I started doing internships, which were mandatory at the time for finance and strategy students at Sciences Po. So 2004 was a year of Poland joining European Union. It was quite a different world. 2008 and 2009 was the beginning of the biggest financial crisis. So you can imagine, for me as a finance professional, this was also a very marking event. And between the two, I think both are excellent schools, and it was already said earlier, schools often have a slightly different profiles or have their own strengths and challenges. I think in this case, both excellent schools, but Sciences Po gave me a very solid background in social sciences. So a joke I'm making is that I studied finance and strategy. So Warsaw School of Economics taught me finance, Sciences Po taught me strategy. And it's only half joke, really, because on the other hand, I think that the courses that I did at Warsaw School of Economics, the whole more technical part, starting from macro and microeconomics through specifically finance courses or accounting, when I was coming back to France, I was already quite proficient in these areas compared to, say, my fellow students who just did undergraduate at Sciences Po. So I think, when you do this, it's a bit of cliche, but you are able to take the best of the two worlds. The great thing at Sciences Po was also the intellectual atmosphere there. with a lot of very interesting professors, not always coming from pure academic background. I think it may have changed, since 20 years, but at the time, for example, as a first-year student, having someone like Dominique Strauss-Kahn as an economics professor, who later, became a FME director and unfortunately had his own legal issues, but being with those kind of personalities and learning from them and being part of this world gives you an immense amount of confidence, self-confidence, and makes you feel kind of special. After these studies, I became a finance professional. Actually, I'm a risk manager for a corporate investment banking division of a largest French bank. I'm not going to advertise its name, but you can probably guess. And I've been doing this since 2008, 2009. And the 2009 crisis had a role in this because obviously this is when risk management became fashionable again in finance. And I saw a lot of interesting challenges in choosing this path in finance, which is quite intellectually rewarding too. And I think the studies that I made, this combination of solid technical background in finance plus this social studies upbringing early, created this mix, which resulted in this quite specific path in a career. This is it, I think.
Yes, thank you so much. And as a former dual degree student myself, French dual degree students who did the second year in Germany, and I live now in Berlin, it seems that it's not an isolated story. So it clearly has an impact for many people, and many people tend to stay or go back, right? So that I think that's one of the thing you do not necessarily anticipate, but then you tend to like the place and sometimes stay. But yes, thank you so much for these very different perspectives. And now I'd like to open the floor to questions from the audience, if you have some. And again, as in the first roundtable, if you could ask the question and open your mic, you can raise your hand. But if you're really shy, put it in the chat as well, please. Are there no questions? No, it seems like you were very clear and offered lots of food for thought. It's a lot of information because there are so many offers out there and so many great programs. So I'm pretty sure that there's one for every single person could participate in. Thank you so much to our speakers, to our participants, and please stay in touch and have a lovely day.
Bye. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.